Phoenix, Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM, Mariana, WBLQ, Port St. Joe. Powered by Pepsi. ESPN Northwest Florida. Rise and shine, campers. It's a brand new day.
What a lovely morning.
Good morning, starshine.
You seem happy this morning.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming in early.
The Coach James Hale Show is live and local. Live from the J. Michaels Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Can't pass a hit man.
It's cold.
Amen.
Last time I walk outside in shorts thinking I live in Florida, for crying out loud. Brian Haddad sitting in again. Coach James Hale Show on a Thursday morning. Joined with the local legends themselves here, the Thursday superstars. Jeremy Pridgeon and Tommy Santamont. How you doing, fellas?
I'm doing
Good.
well.
Good.
Good.
Glad to be here.
Tommy's the only smart one out of us. He's layered up.
I'm telling you. I walked outside and I said, man, it's wintertime now.
I'm telling you. It's going to be winter for what, a good 48 hours or so down here. But I don't know. I looked at the predictions. It may be real cold around Christmas for once down here. That could be
Oh,
fun.
really? Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even Tallahassee last night, they said, there's a hint of maybe some white stuff. And it's like, wow, that's pretty rare for Northwest Florida.
Well, that's what I said. Yeah. Even if it was, an ash from a wildfire, I count that as a white Christmas down here. So.
I prefer the sandy beach.
Yeah. There we go. We just throw sand in the air. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we got a great show lined up for you today. I mean, we've got all the normal stuff that everybody loves with college football talk and some local, but we've got a couple of really fun things we're going to do today, so make sure you listen all day long. We're going to do our fight song feast. We're going to do that coming out of the 7:45 break, and that's where we're going to play a college football fight song, and you can win a $60 Texas Roadhouse gift bucket. I'm telling you, you will love that. And so make sure you're listening around 7:45 for that. And it should be a fight song that we're aware of, but we're going to find out. And then after that, later today, probably sometime 8, maybe a little bit later on, we have something really special we're going to do for somebody in the area. So you want to make sure and listen for that as well. Well, guys, I'm going to start like I do each morning. I'm going to go through some of the local stuff. Now, we didn't have nearly as many games because they played about 1 million of them on Tuesday, but we did have some good local stories that were out there in the sports world. Freeport alum Dalton Simpler was named a D2 first-team All-American. Now, he plays over at University of West Florida. They made it to the national semifinals this year, and he is an offensive lineman. He's actually the first Argo, the West Florida Argo, the Argonauts, the first one to make the first-team All-American team. So pretty cool for a Freeport alum there. And, it's pretty impressive what the University of West Florida has been able to do in such a short period of time.
It really has. I'm a West Florida grad, and I can remember when I was over there 30 years ago, there was an April Fool's email sent out about the creation of a football program and the building of the Argo Dome.
Boy.
And here we are watching them play, Ferris State this past weekend, and I really believe had that game been in Pensacola, it'd been a different outcome. Those boys got up there and got cold.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's funny you bring up like the dream thing being put out to the students. I went to Mississippi State, obviously, as we've talked about, and we had a football team, but I can tell you for 20 years, you could win the Student Government Association president if you promised you'd bring a Waffle House to start. They finally got one, but long after I left. So.
And I'll say West Florida's really recruited well in the area.
Yes, they have.
Right.
I mean,
there's good players in Pensacola area.
You look at their roster; they don't go far. I mean, they've got some that come in, but and then Freeport, Class A school. So the rural division. So you've got opportunities now, and I think you'll see them continue to emerge. Now they lost their coach.
Right.
He's gone on to Townsend, and they've hired. his replacement. But I think there's a day coming in the near future where you'll see West Florida in some of these guarantee games with the upper division schools.
Yeah, I think so. And, I mean, it's certainly, we know the Gulf Coast is talent rich and athlete.
My wife graduated from West Florida also. And back in the day, I think there was like 2 buildings.
Yeah.
There wasn't much of it. It was kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
That's
well,
right.
They've got an on-campus presence now. They're not playing down at Maritime Park where they had played. So you're getting more of a residential feel versus a commuter college feel that it had.
To Tommy's point, I mean, I've coached swimming for 30 years, and I even swam in the pool at West Florida back in the early and mid-'80s. And that pool was it. And then since they've built kind of a little gym off to the side, a little activity center, and the football field's right behind the pool and all like that. So it used to be pretty easy to get in and out of there. Now it's a little crowded. But congrats to Dalton Simpler for making the first team All-American team. That's really impressive. Bay High School is going to host the 1A District 1 Dual Wrestling Championships. Now they're going to have 8 teams in, and so that'll feature Bay, Bozeman, Freeport, North Bay Haven, Rocky Bayou, Rutherford, South Walton, and Wewa-Hitchcock. Weigh-ins today at 4 p.m. Tournament will start at 5 p.m. And I don't understand everything about wrestling. I know we have some people in the audience who are making fun of me right now, and that's fine. But I think the way the duel works was that everybody on the roster wrestles someone else. So 14 will battle 14, and the brackets go like that. And so it was interesting in how they had it laid out. But it's pretty cool that anytime we have a district or a regional event hosted in our area, but Bay getting to host the 1A wrestling at Cobb Gym there.
Mm-hmm. Very cool, and good programs across the board coming in. It's not a sport we mention a whole lot, but you've got good athletes there. If you ever go to a meet and watch it in person,
well, and you better be good. That's a tough sport.
That's tough.
You better have a lot of muscles and a lot of little muscles you probably never use when you wrestle. I found that out real quick,
no doubt. And Bozeman senior Hannah Fleming, she has signed to play volleyball at Lauren B. Wallace Community College. She becomes only the second player from Bozeman to sign at the collegiate level to go on and play volleyball. So that's really cool. And, I mean, they have been a great volleyball team over the last several years.
Very, very solid, and a lot of opportunities, with volleyball coming on stronger in the Panhandle, seeing us being a little more competitive than, maybe we have been with other parts of the state, and it's getting noticed. I think that's a good thing for the young ladies that are playing.
No, I think that's right, and certainly, we have a lot of athletes signed from here, and it's nice to see them right around this time. What a great Christmas present there.
Success breeds success, and then it also breeds interest. North Bay Haven was number 1 a couple of years ago in early rankings. Arnold's had a good program. Mosley wins it all, and so you see this uptick that follows as soon as you have the success at the upper levels. The young ladies going to watch them go, well, I want to do that. I want to play, and it kind of breeds that culture. So
and we have it all around. I mean, not just here, but I mean, you just expand out a little bit, and Sneads owns the state of Florida in
Liberty
volleyball,
County
and Liberty
picked
County
up their first this year and broke that 9-year streak. So you're exactly right, and it's a great sport. I mean, the changes they have made, years ago went to the rally scoring where every play is a point. You didn't have to wait for somebody to serve.
Be there all day.
Move it along. And it's just a great sport with what's required of the. You got to be agile, got to be strong, you have to play as a team, and a lot of good things that come from it.
And that's a really good sport for females to get involved with, because
that's true.
A lot of opportunities, a lot of camps around that you can, if you don't know how to play, you can be taught how to play. I know at our church, First Methodist, we offer volleyball.
And have had just pack it out every year. We've got the winter spring session coming up. We're already getting calls. When do we start?
Unbelievable. It's unreal. Well, great stuff going on with our local athletes, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of events here, and my buddies in the TDC office, who I know listen every morning, I'm sure they will send me some of the events we have coming up, because we seem to be, we are sports tourism destination number 1 right now. It is unbelievable what these guys have done down here, the people who manage the parks out on Panama City Beach, and even the supporting parks and gyms and things in town that help make these events run has just been phenomenal for our area. but also we always talk about the money end of it and it bringing in heads and beds and everything, but that gives our local athletes an opportunity to compete against some of the best in the country while staying at home. Mm-hmm. And that's a great thing. Our athletes are exposed to tournaments and things like that maybe some other areas aren't.
Yep.
So congrats to everybody who's involved in making that a big thing. I'd much rather be known for that than what we used to be known for.
And you'll see over the Christmas holiday, the holiday basketball tournaments where teams will come and travel. We've always had strong baseball representation with Gulf Coast having teams come in over the years, or the spring break for schools in other states. They'll come down and stay and play several games. So it's an added benefit to get to be here,
Certainly.
have the exposure and a friendly climate to do so as well. That helps.
Absolutely right. Well, obviously, guys, the big story this week, and unfortunately, the news broke on us right in the middle of the show on Tuesday, was the passing of Coach Mike Leach, and we got some great stuff yesterday from Glenn Manley, who had done a few interviews with him. Of course, Andy Siegel, who's known him for 30 years, and they gave some things. But I did want to kind of put it to you guys, and if you had any thoughts or anything you'd like to share on kind of Coach Leach and everything like that.
I'm just heartsick about it, like everyone. He was just sort of this enigmatic figure. If you look at coaches out there, there's a sort of prototype, and he was none of that.
No.
Yeah.
And yet found a way to scheme and devise, plans, and in his own quirky way was successful. And it's interesting, how it turned for him. Had he been hired at Key West,
yeah, that was amazing yesterday, hearing that.
Might have never heard from him. And I think he would have been totally content.
Right.
But as a result of getting overlooked for that position.
You know what it reminds me of? It's the thing that we've all heard Coach Hale say all the time: doesn't happen to you, happens for you. Mm-hmm. And you think about that, it was probably really disappointing for Coach Leach at the time.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, he would have been overly happy to live in Key West.
Absolutely.
But it's weird how things work out, and not just for him, but it's like Andy Siegel said yesterday, how much different would the college and the pro football world be if we never got Mike Leach at the collegiate level?
Right. His innovation and how it had sort of, changed the game is quite remarkable. I saw the little clip about when he was the OC during the Oklahoma-Texas game, and he went so far as to create a fake playbook.
It was just phenomenal, and obviously the stories and the press conferences and the clips that we've seen are the one that still gets me. And if you haven't seen this, you need to go YouTube this or whatever. But he gets asked at a press conference, and it was a challenge to reporters to ask him something trying to stump him, which was impossible. But they asked him who would win in a fight of mascots in the Pac-12. And I mean, without wasting 2 seconds, he leads with, well, I think the first thing we have to do is determine the supernatural capabilities of a sun devil. Who thinks of that? But he's right.
He's right.
That's exactly what we have to do. And then he goes through like a tail of the tape matchup of every match. If you get some time today, go watch. It is. And the thing is, he's not designing it to be funny.
No,
he's doing a literal analysis of this. It was phenomenal, and oh man, we're gonna miss Coach Lee.
So what were your thoughts on the interim being named?
Well, yeah, we're gonna get to that a little bit in the next break. It's not a surprise, and it's a good move because Zach Arnett. People have been. I actually thought he would leave last year. There were a lot of people come and call him for him last year. Obviously, who he's going to hire as OC is going to be a big deal because Zach is a defensive guy, but yeah, we're going to get into that some of the next thing.
Hello, Brian.
I don't know about all that. All right. Well, let's get to a break before my head explodes pondering that prospect. Let's talk about our great sponsors here. J. Michael's Restaurant. Yesterday was Spaghetti Day. Packed out as always. It was phenomenal. They got jambalaya in there today for all of our Cajun friends. And, of course, it always goes with the best seafood, the coldest beer you're going to find anywhere down here. That is J. Michael's Restaurant. Blue Sky Express Car Wash. Well, we had a free car wash overnight, didn't we?
Hope everybody
Good
came
gracious.
through that okay.
Looks like our area got spared the worst of it, but some other areas had it tough. But get out there to Blue Sky, and they will have your car looking better than the day you bought it. They got the best equipment, vacuum bays, everything like that. You will absolutely love it. Blue Sky Express Car Wash on Back Beach Road. And Dr. Chad Mitchell, if you're dealing with any kind of injury, go to the guy who has been the point person for all of the local athletes in this area for over 20 years, and that is Dr. Chad Mitchell. When we get back, we're going around the horn. We're going to talk about everything going on with college football with Jeremy and Tommy right here on the Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida and staff meteorologist Tim Root for up-to-the-minute weather reports all day long.
Moving northwestward into the Gulf of Mexico by the weekend.
In-depth storm coverage.
Gusty winds up to 60 miles per hour.
And breaking weather as it happens.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Good morning. It's Thursday. A weather front coming in today. Showers and thunderstorms early today, and then partial clearing towards evening. The high around 68, 69. Northwest wind up to 20 miles per hour. Clearing tonight, 45 for the low. 65, mostly sunny skies Friday. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Bill Bird Kia is giving you holiday savings during the season of giving back. Take your next holiday adventure in a new Kia, now offering 2.9% APR for up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2022 Kia Sorento, 2023 Kia Soul, or new 2023 Kia Forte. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKia.com. We'll give you the peace of mind you can trust.
Offer from Kia Finance for the purchase of a new 2022 Kia Sorento, new 2023 Kia Soul, new 2023 Kia Forte with $2,209 per month for $1,000 financed in 48 months. Qualities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 1/3/23.
Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michaels studio, where it's beginning to look a lot like cocktails. Lots and lots of cocktails. Merry Christmas from ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. Coach James Hale Show. Brian, Jeremy, and Tommy sitting in for Coach today. You were listening to us on 104.3 here in Panama City, but you're also able to listen to us on 102.1 up in Mariana and 101.9 over there in Port St. Joe. You can catch us on Facebook, YouTube, anywhere they can put My Ugly Mug. They're going to do it right there. John's doing it right now. So, but you can listen to us anywhere, and we appreciate everyone for chiming in. Let's go around the horn here, fellas. Let's talk about a bunch of things. Let's lead with what we were talking about going into the break. Mississippi State is expected to name defensive coordinator Zach Arnett full-time head coach. The deal's expected to be announced really soon, and it's expected to be for about 4 years, they're thinking.
Well, isn't that the limit in Mississippi on any
legislatively, that is the limit. Now, when I was there used to be a cap on salary, too. I think Jackie Sherrill made sure to get rid of that. But they had to be a lot more creative with their camps and things back then.
And that's part of why I think every year Kiffin has to go back in for recruiting purposes. Are you going to be here?
Correct. Yeah. And it's something. I mean, we talked about it with the NIL. With Florida, had to change some things in the legislation to allow for certain things, and it's something that Mississippi needs to address as well, because it's going to be a disadvantage for the state in keeping coaches if guys are getting 10-year deals everywhere else, and you can only get a 4-year deal in the state of Mississippi. Well, we got a caller on the line. Who are we talking to this morning?
Good morning, Brian. It's Rob. How are you this
Hey,
morning?
Rob. How are you this morning?
I'm all right. I was just kind of disappointed I didn't get called to get to come in there and sit in with you and Dr. Mitchell on Monday, but I guess y'all move out to the beach. You got big time now, so all those little
Moving on up, as they will. Rob,
right.
you know you are welcome to join us any day.
I know it. I'm just pulling on you a little. And I do want to tell you how good of a job you've done this week. There have been no fights. Nobody's been, put in
the
time
week isn't
out.
over yet.
Well, yeah.
Checks in the mail, Rob.
And nobody's been banned from calling in and, and all that. So, but everything's been going good. I do want to say that on the subject and bring back up Coach Leach and stuff. I think he would have been great at anything he did. He back when they had, and I don't know if anybody saw it or not, but during the SEC days, all the two guys that have the daily talk shows and stuff, and I've drawn a blank now. Marty and McGee.
Yeah.
They did a sit down with him and stuff, and was really, really a good interview. And he always did a good interview. But he's right. When you ask him a question, he didn't give you a dumb off the cuff answer. He would think deep about it, and he could have been a neurosurgeon. He could have, whatever he wanted to do, he could have done and been one of the best at it. And everybody's going to miss him.
You could tell just in listening to him, he had an insatiable thirst for learning.
Oh, yeah.
Just had to learn. He was always reading, just wanted to learn everything. That was amazing.
Well, he had one of I'm sure that his brain just could, he's one of those few people that he just couldn't get enough knowledge in it. Yeah. It was starving for more knowledge and information, and and if you could ever, just like you said, when somebody asked him how that would go, and he would tell you what the Sun Devil is, and he would probably break that down, and that would probably be, an 8-hour discussion, with him and stuff. But anyway, you guys are doing a great job. I appreciate everything that y'all do for everybody and feeding the families and all that sort of stuff, and appreciate all the hard work y'all put into that.
Well, thank you, Rob. We appreciate you.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. Talk to you later.
That's one of our great callers there, Rob, calling in with us. I know he's excited about the big FSU game against Oklahoma here. Well, speaking of bowl games and staying on the topic of Mississippi State, they obviously are going to play in their bowl game down in Tampa on January the 2nd. Now, they're going to play Illinois, who's been a good team this year. Illinois, of course, losing their defensive coordinator, who's going to go be the new head coach at Purdue. That is Ryan Walters, 36 years old, getting the head job at Purdue. So congrats to him. But the interesting thing, and higher power, I don't know. Sitting here looking at Jeremy thinking about that. But how perfect is it that, as bad it is we lost Coach Leach, the bowl game's in Tampa. What do they have at the stadium in Tampa?
Oh yeah, you get
the pirate ship. Mm-hmm. Just the way that the world works sometimes is something else. So I'm really looking forward to that. If Mississippi State can get a win, I'm sure they're going to have something planned around that pirate ship. So,
don't you know? Yes.
So that would be something. More news and notes from college football as we head into the bowl season here, which starts tomorrow, for crying out loud. Ohio State running back Travion Henderson is going to have surgery on his left foot, and he will miss the college football playoff. Now, he has missed several games this year. In fact, 3 of the last 4 with different injuries. But that foot has been nagging him ever since he hurt it in the Toledo game, and it's never really got right. And so I think for his long-term prospects, and he's not coming out. I mean, he's a sophomore, but I think for his long-term prospects, I think everyone decided it'd be best if he go on and have surgery and work to the future, versus running the risk of doing any more damage. So he will be out. But, guys, he's not the only Ohio State player who's going to miss the college football playoffs. Jackson Smith and Jigba, the big-time wide receiver, probably first round, one of the top wide receivers taken, if not the top wide receiver taken in the draft, has also announced he will miss. He's been nagged with injuries all year, has played very little, which has led to the rise of some of their other superstar wide receivers. but he will miss the college football playoffs. In fact, he's just going to go on and start preparing for the NFL draft as he recovers from his injuries as well. So, yeah, these are two guys that have not been everyday players for Ohio State this year, but certainly you don't want to lose talent like this going in to play Georgia.
No, it's a tall order anybody having to play the Bulldogs, and you want to be at full strength. And I really think this is the Georgia Invitational, but this is not going to help Ohio State's chances at all.
No, that's absolutely true. Let's go to the ACC. Clemson edge rusher Miles Murphy has decided he will not be participating in the Orange Bowl, and he will prepare for the draft. That's not a shock. This is probably a top 10 pick.
Right.
Phenomenal player from a great defense. And so he will be out. He joins Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee. The wide receiver has also mentioned he's going to sit out that game. But, yeah. You know, it just gets back to the notion. I hate having to keep reporting all these guys who are going to be sitting out of bowl games. For someone who grew up where the bowl game, I mean, January 1st was the greatest day of the year because you had wall-to-wall football that mattered. And for guys to sit out a bowl game then would be incomprehensible. Yeah. Now, you understand it. I still don't like it.
You know, I concur. You'd wake up and start the morning, first game's around 10 o'clock, and it was just football until the Sugar Bowl finished. And most years, you had 3 or 4 teams that were in contention of how the games would work out, and the bowls mattered. And by the end of the night, you had a national champion. Now, I heard Pat Dye one time say, they were all sort of mythical national champions, but, we talk about the eye test still today and what team looked better. You had some contractual obligations like the Big Ten and the Pac-10 that couldn't play, outside of the Rose Bowl, and so that might throw a wrinkle in things. But it created a little more drama, and I know the initial move to the BCS gave us some great matchups. I'm not sure that wasn't the best system because right now I think it's Georgia, Michigan. And let's play it and be done. And this move to 12 teams, I think, is actually going the wrong direction in terms of what we're trying to accomplish and getting, who's the best.
I know it's difficult because the only way to truly crown one is if everybody played everybody, and you're just not going to have that. But I don't want us to get away. What I do love about college football is that every game matters. And I don't want it to become like basketball where you have kind of a preseason and then a 3-week season that matters, which is essentially what you have with now the NCAA tournament's exciting and it sells a lot of television revenue and things, but I don't want us to get into a situation of where college football becomes, a 2.5 month preseason and then 3 weeks that matter.
Well, and we see some inkling of that based on even the timetables of the 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
We're going to be going from the end of August until the middle of January still dealing with college football.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a bit much. And the physical wear and tear. How many pro teams have gone undefeated?
One.
How many games are these guys going to play over the course of the year if you play an 11-game season, the conference championship?
We're already at 15 games to win the national championship, and they're talking about it maybe going to 16 or more.
16, and the Dolphins are the only one to run that gauntlet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. It really is on the athletes and their durability.
Yeah.
Injuries are going to pile up. People opting out as the games become less consequential. So there will be some unintended consequences. Just wait.
Yeah.
You just talked about the players opting out. To me, these players love football and they want to play. And I can understand going pro. I can understand a little bit why you would not play with your team in a bowl game, or even like in the playoffs. Why wouldn't you play? I mean, that just I don't know. I have a hard time with that. Yeah. And I like Jeremy said, I like the old BCS. I like it where it's controversial. Well, this team should have been number one. No, this team should have been. I like that. I like that atmosphere of that whole deal now. So, but anyway, and I'll tell you what, boys, I'm telling you right now, Ohio State and Georgia, you better watch Ohio State. I know Georgia's tough, and they got the lines to win, but Ohio State's got a heck of a quarterback and some receivers. And if Georgia plays defensive backs like they did in that last game, it could be a game. I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
It could be a game.
Looking forward to it. Tell you another thing I'm looking forward to is Rudy's Barbecue out there on the beach. I'm telling you, I've seen you guys there. It's good stuff. And don't forget, as you head into the holidays, and Tommy, I know you've done this for Thanksgiving before. You can get that turkey, get it out. They do the ham as well.
Turkey.
Oh, my goodness gracious. You need to go visit Ethan at Rudy's Barbecue. Chuck Tucker, South Oak Title and Closing. You don't want any hassle with your closing. You got to use Chuck Tucker. He is the best with South Oak Title and Closing. And El Rodeo Tequila, best Mexican restaurant on the beach. You need to get out there. Happy hour specials, great food. You will love it. TVs everywhere to watch your favorite bowl game. Get to El Rodeo Tequila and tell them you heard about it here on the Coach James Hale Show. We get back, we're going to talk some FSU as they head into their bowl game against Oklahoma. Tommy's going to tell us everything we need to know. He's got it all scouted on the Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. College football lives here. The rivalries, the tradition, and the biggest fans. Listen live in a rich audio experience you can only hear on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida and the ESPN Northwest Florida app.
Sponsored locally by PCB Coins and Cards, the Patch Boys of Panama City, and Jin Jin Super King Buffet.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Is that the sound of an ooey gooey, cheesy, crunchy slice of P-I-Z-Z-A? Obviously. But as good as that sounds, we think it can get even better. Oh yeah, that's the sound of a freshly opened fizz-filled Pepsi. The only thing that can take this flavor medley of crunchy dough, mouth-watering cheese, and savory sauce to the next level. How about another bite? Pepsi and pizza sound like a match made in heaven and taste even better. Pizza, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
This holiday season, stop by Santa's Bake Shop. Krispy Kreme on 23rd Street next to Gulf Coast Hospital and the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan. Krispy Kreme, Santa's Bake Shop for those famous hot now glazed donuts and a complete assortment of specialty donuts. All great anytime, but really special for holiday giving. Krispy Kreme is Santa's Bake Shop, 23rd Street, Panama City and Ross Clark Circle in Dothan.
Now back to the Coach James Hale Show.
I'm not prepared. I really am not prepared at all. I hope you won't judge me on one email I sent 10 years ago.
My apartment smells of rich mahogany.
Live from the J. Michaels Studio.
Not after spicier food,
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Florida State, Florida State, Florida State. Woo! FSU Update brought to you every single morning by Newbies and all the great Newbies properties down here. Mothership, where you can hear the best bands in the South. The Newbies 2 on the Curve, great place to go watch football game. Make sure you get out and watch all the bowl games there at Newbies 2 on the Curve. You'll have a great time. Shoot some pool. Step over Glen Manley. You have a great time out there. And the Booze and Brew on Front Beach Road is a great place to have local events, gatherings, reunions, everything like that. John and Charlotte do so many wonderful things for the community, and they love FSU. Tommy, what do you got for us on the Seminoles today?
Well, let's look at basketball first. FSU actually won 2 in a row now.
Oh, my goodness.
Man, they beat South Carolina Upstate the other day. That's a team out of Spartanburg, South Carolina. 80-63, and now FSU is 3-9. They got a 2-game winning streak going on, but I think that's going in here pretty soon.
3-9 sounds better than 1-9.
I'm telling you. But they're I saw the Florida FSU basketball game over there, and FSU just can't shoot the ball a lick. If they could shoot the ball, I mean, they just don't. They don't have a lot of height. 6 of their players are out. I mean, their best player won't even be able to play to January because of NCAA violation or something. Mm-hmm. But anyway, they're struggling, but they're hanging in there. I saw an interesting article. George Henshaw, who was big FSU coach back in the day, he's got an article on War Chant. He does it about once a week. He was talking about the people complaining about FSU playing Oklahoma, a 6-6 team. But Henshaw said, I think that's actually the perfect team for them to be playing. He says, what team can say that in 1 year they beat LSU, Miami, Florida, and Oklahoma?
Yeah.
How many teams can say they beat those 4 teams in 1 year? That's quite an accomplishment, I think. So he's got a point there. And every time you hear this hype about Oklahoma, the FSU's going to beat them, they're I think, a 7.5 point favorite to win the game. But anytime that starts coming around, you better watch out.
Yeah.
Because Oklahoma can definitely, they still got a great offense. The defense is kind of hurting some, but and they've had some kids to opt out. So you never know when you get in the bowl games. As we know, people opting out. That can 2 or 3 of your better players can mean a big difference in how the game turns out.
Well, and that's been what's so fun is that the FSU players are playing.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah,
and there's some guys who could opt out. And, there's guys who, Jared Verse, guys like that.
They had them in 10, I think, in the portal right now. But the other kids, they want to play. I mean, they say we're staying to play. We want the 10 wins. So they'll be pretty much full force. When they play Oklahoma, and FSU got. Of course, they got the defensive tackle from Miami in the portal. When you look at the portal, and now they've got the Jaheim Bell. He's tight end from South Carolina. 2 years of eligibility left. He was a second-team All-SEC, and they're losing Cam McDonald, their tight end. So this kid can be a tight end. He can play a lot of different places. He's going to really help the offense. Looking at since Benson said he's coming back, and of course Jordan is coming back, so and I think Toafili's coming back. All those kids are coming back. That's the only thing that we don't know about is Jared Verse. What he's going to do, and I think the more he holds out, he might not come back. But you never know. But anyway, this kid's going to be a big plus for FSU's offense next year, especially with Jordan back too. And they got a 2024 kid, Jamari Flagg from Booker T. Washington, Miami. He is committed to FSU. And I hate, when they're like a year and a half, 2 years away when they commit. You never know if they're going to stay.
The word commit doesn't mean what it used to mean, does it?
Not anymore at all. Everybody, especially when a team, a brand of like FSU is got them committed. Other people jump on the bandwagon trying to get them in.
Yeah.
And Keltrick Faulk, this is another big commitment from FSU. He's been a commitment for quite some time from Highland Home, Alabama. 6'6", 243, a tight end, a rush in. Auburn's big on him now. They're really pulling the trigger, trying to get him to flip to Auburn, and you never know, but FSU, of course, is fighting back, so we'll see how that's going to turn out. Is he going to stay with FSU? Is he going to flip his commitment to Auburn? But also, Coach Bowden and Peter Warwick's is going to be inducted into the All-State Sugar Bowl Hall of Fame, and you look at that, the Hall of Fame. Why is it taking so long? And a lot of these guys played a long time ago. I don't know how they select in that Hall of Fame, but they've got some heck of a players. It's in that Sugar Bowl Hall of Fame, and Coach Bowden and Peter Warwick's going to be the latest in that coming up Hall of Fame. And the exciting news around FSU is this coming Saturday, the big groundbreaking for the 150,000 square foot football operations is
there we
going
go.
down. So Mike Alford, who's the new AD, great guy. He is getting things rolling there at FSU, and I think he's going to be one of the biggest plus for FSU athletics that's been in a long time.
Yeah.
So a great very nice guy. I met him several months ago, and
I want to say he was a finalist for the Athletic Director of the Year award, NCAA, I believe I heard a couple weeks ago.
I'm afraid somebody's going to try to poach him away from FSU, and hopefully they won't. I think he's into FSU, so I think the challenge he's got at FSU is something that's going to make.
Speaking of that, Mississippi State administration, I know you're looking for an AD. I know where one is.
Yeah, right.
Tommy's cutting me dagger eyes right now.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to changing jobs, that money sometimes speaks to them.
Sure.
But I like the idea of talking with Mike and seeing that the challenge of his job at FSU is something that I think he embraces, and I think that's what'll probably be the thing that keeps him. Plus, the Tallahassee community is kind of a close knit community, and people, they love FSU. I mean, they get fired up. Their fan bases, I mean, they'll get after it now.
Yes, they will.
So
there's no doubt of that, and we hear them all
anyway,
the time.
FSU's looking forward to that big bowl game, December 29th with Oklahoma down in Orlando. I looked at the tickets, Jeremy, and they start around $80 on the things I saw, up to like $1,500, something like that. So.
Well, and we talked earlier this week. It was kind of interesting that they're playing this game in Orlando, and where do they open against LSU next year?
That's right.
Orlando again. So.
That'll be a great game, too, next year.
You can learn where to park and everything. You'll be all settled.
All right.
Well, that'll be interesting to start off next year. And, congrats to the basketball team for getting going there, because it was interesting. You think back 2 years ago, all we're talking about is the success of the basketball team and the woes of the football team.
That's
that just shows you how quickly it can flip and turn. And Coach Hamilton's a great guy. I know he had a ton of injuries last year he was dealing with, and may still have a little of that this year, but I'm sure he'll get it turned around. And we were just talking about earlier, hey, you get hot, make a run down the stretch, those first 9 games won't matter.
Right. Yeah.
That's what Louisville's hoping for anyway. They just got their first win of the year. Would you ever think we would talk about Louisville basketball starting 0-9?
Never.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
I saw that FSU Louisville game. They didn't look good at all.
No. The sport of basketball lost in that game.
Actually, I didn't know. I turned the game on, and I saw FSU up like 15 points. I said, what in the world?
When you consider the expectations of basketball in the state of Kentucky.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, be like Alabama coming out 0-7.
Well, and, Randy, our station owner here, he talked about how important that was for that AD to get the football hire right. I think he probably threw the moon at Brian Brom, because there's a lot of people on him for this basketball situation, not necessarily, it's early, but not necessarily working out to everyone's liking. So it was a big move to get Brian Brom to come back for basketball.
Well, in basketball, as we've seen with the one and dones, for a while, you can bounce quickly.
Correct.
So you just go get the next 5 in, and you're basically playing a select AAU squad on your court next year, and you go. So this just may not be the best group that he's brought in.
No, that's true. That's true. Well, I did want to cover one thing, because I had mentioned it earlier. I did get a note in from our friends over the TDC. This weekend, you knew there'd be something going on the beach. We've got a beach volleyball tournament. Maybe a little chilly, but we got a beach volleyball tournament going on down at City Pier. We've got the girls' fast pitch softball at Frank Brown Park, and boys' baseball over at Public Sports Park. We got 125 teams total coming to our area. So great job by everybody who promotes these events. They're going to be great events.
We'll be a little chilly.
But, beach volleyball may need to bring the leggings out.
Yes.
When you look at what Panama City Beach has done with athletics and all the facilities they have out there, think about it's so easy to get people to come to Panama City.
Sure.
I mean, why wouldn't you come?
Yeah.
You got entertainment for the kids. They got beautiful beaches. It's all there, and great. The facilities are really nice out there.
They are.
Well, the pool and all that. They've had that for quite some time. So they have done just an outstanding. I can remember back my job many years ago. Paul Casto, you know Paul.
I know Paul very well.
I remember we were talking about, I don't understand why Panama City Beach don't build these facilities out here, because they'd have all these tons of people coming in here. That was probably 30 years, 25 years ago. And they have taken up and done it, boy. They have done a great job with that.
Oh, they absolutely have. Let's talk about a couple of our sponsors here, and then we've got some exciting to pitch going into this break. But Paparazzi Gourmet Deli, 3 restaurants in one. Great pizza, great deli, great bakery. You can have a whole day's worth of meals there at Paparazzi Gourmet Deli. Max Fit Sports Nutrition, Jason Kovaleski probably didn't love all those updates we were giving on Ohio State earlier as he hopes to get a win over the Bulldogs, but they've got an absolutely great shop there. Great products to make you look better, feel better. You can try it before you buy it. Get out and see Jason at Max Fit Sports Nutrition. They're in Pier Park North, right next to Dick's Sporting Goods. And Dr. John Ward, dermatology specialists. Don't become a statistic. 1 in 5 develop skin cancer in their life. We live in paradise, but we don't have to have the drawbacks that come with that. Get checked out regularly for that with Dr. John Ward at Dermatology Specialists. If you're listening to us right now, he's got an office near you. Folks, don't turn that dial, because coming out of this break, we're going to go into our Fight Song Feast from Northwest Florida, ESPN Radio, and Texas Roadhouse. Your chance to win a $60 Texas Roadhouse gift bucket, all coming out of the next break here on the Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're home for the NFL. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Absolutely the most touchdowns on the Panhandle, including premier NFL games. Tonight, the Seattle Seahawks host the San Francisco 49ers and Mr. Irrelevant.
Purdy looks to throw. Youth check. Touchdown, San Francisco.
Coverage starts at 6:30 right here. The NFL on ESPN Northwest Florida is sponsored by Dave & Buster's and Instant Replay Sports Cards.
Good morning. It's Thursday. A weather front coming in today. Showers and thunderstorms early today, and then partial clearing towards evening. The high around 68, 69. Northwest wind up to 20 miles per hour. Clearing tonight, 45 for the low. 65, mostly sunny skies Friday. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida are proud members of the Panama City Beach Chamber. We'd like to welcome the newest members to the Beach Chamber.
Old Glory Washing Solutions, Panama City Comedy, Salty Marlin Realty, Sunnyside Apartments, and Tim Liwig, Wine Consultant.
Congratulations from the area's only sports radio station, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hi, it's Coach James Hale. Keeping your car looking great is easy as 1, 2, 3 at Blue Sky Express Car Wash. By joining their monthly wash club, you'll get the best bang for your buck. And just 2 car washes, your monthly membership pays for itself. Don't miss the summer deal where all your monthly memberships are 50% off on your first month, starting at $9.99 a month. Become a member today at Blue Sky Express Car Wash on Bat Beach Road, right next to Home Depot. Tell them Coach Hale sent you.
The Coach James Hale Show is live and local from the J. Michaels Studio.
They got something that money couldn't buy. I was noticing when you come down the stairs that you've got pretty legs.
All right, I'll tell you a story without a happy ending.
Y'all following this?
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. I'm so glad that mics aren't on during the breaks here. We're having a good old time here on a Thursday morning, and you too can have a good time because we've got something really fun coming up right now. This is something we've been doing lately. The Fight Song Feast from ESPN Northwest Florida and the Texas Roadhouse. It is your chance to win $60 in Texas Roadhouse gift bucket where you listen to it's great. You get to listen to a college football fight song. We'll take the first caller with the correct answer, not just the first caller, Michigan Eddie. First caller with a correct answer. to call us at 215-6290, and you will, you will win this fantastic gift bucket. So make sure you're listening right now. Smitty, play that song. One a lot during the football season, although I got a little stump face here and people trying to work this out, but it's one you hear a lot during the college football season. So I'm interested to see how somebody's heard it, because we got a call already in here. Hopefully they got the right answer, but that's a fun fight song right there too. And like I said, it's one maybe us Southern boys don't hear all that often, but this team tends to score a lot of points, so we're going to see if they've got the right answer here. So John's talking away. College football fight song. Can you imagine $60 to Texas Roadhouse? You could have some fun with that. Mm-hmm. I have, as my waistline will attest.
Well, I have to say I don't know it, so
boo. Tommy? Well, to be fair, I didn't know it either, but I have it written on my sheet, so I'm like Alex Trebek.
I got another tune in my head when the first couple of notes played, so I couldn't get rid of that one.
Agreed. And it wasn't in the college football. Yeah, right. Yeah, no, you're right. But it is one I think it's going to surprise all of us in this room when we hear who it is, because it's one I think we probably should have known. And I know we have some listeners to the show. We might even have some guests who come on the show who would definitely know this one as well. So John's still talking away with our caller. I didn't know it was multiple choice in there, John. But
our version of Name That Tune.
Yeah, exactly.
Do this.
Exactly. What was that where you could just say, I can do it in one note?
One note. Yeah. Name That Tune.
Boy, we're dating ourselves talking about that show, aren't we? But anyway, so our fight song feast from ESPN Northwest Florida and Texas Roadhouse. So till I get the go-ahead, let me hit one thing here. There are reports, and this was an interesting read, that Ohio State is being vastly outbid in NIL dealings with recruits, and that's obviously causing some concern in the recruiting thing. And one of the reports was that there was a 5-star that Ohio State was going after who supposedly, again, all of this allegedly, so I don't end up in court, Ohio State got to about $750,000 in their offer for this 5-star, and apparently that was less than half what he was getting with other schools. And what's unfortunate is that, look, we knew this is what was going to happen, but NIL was not designed to be a pay to come play here, although we knew that was what it was going to be. It was designed to be a way for these athletes to make some money off of autograph sessions and their pictures and their names on jerseys, and that made sense. So, you know, Ohio State needs to get their NIL together. But right now, we get to pitch it over to our caller, who hopefully has the right answer for us. Who are we talking to?
Talking to Victor this morning.
Victor, how you doing? Well, speaking of Victor, do you have the right answer for us?
Yes, the Ohio State University.
It is indeed the Ohio State University. Just so worked out that I was talking about that story with the NIL. Well, are you a big Ohio State fan, or you just know a lot of fight songs?
No, I'm originally from Ohio.
Oh, okay.
So, of course, a Buckeyes fan. I'm not one of those unfortunate children that was dropped on their head and cheer for the team up north.
I absolutely understand that as well. Well, just thinking about the story that I just read, I don't know if you were able to hear, you were talking in there, but there's some concern that Ohio State kind of doesn't necessarily have all their ducks in a row with the NIL, and regardless of maybe what you think about that, what do you think about the idea that, you know, Ohio State may be getting outbid for a lot of these top recruits?
You know, it is a bit concerning, but I think eventually all that will even out. It's like, you know, do I want a little bit of money now, or do I want to go to a program that has a proven record for sending folks to the NFL?
Exactly. No, I think you're right 100%. What's your take on the semifinal game here against Georgia?
I honestly don't know. I mean, after what happened to us in our last game and what happened to us last year, it's hard to tell. Like Ryan Day said in an interview, it's all about, who prepares better, who's putting in the work, and who wants it more. So we'll have to see when the game happens.
It's interesting. Alabama found themselves in this situation, losing the last game of the season to kind of backdoor into the playoff, and Ohio State's there. How does a team bounce back? You typically get a week and you get back on the field. You've got this long layoff between games, and what team will show up? And do you shake that off? I think they'll be able to do so. For me, it's really the availability of the personnel that I think they're going to need to be able to stay with Georgia, and the injuries and mounting up, and that's the question mark. But Tommy's over here. He likes Ohio State in this ball game, and playoff football is really just about that day. So get a couple turnovers, get a miscue, special teams. Who knows? It's just kind of a toss-up. Even still, there's a lot of talent on the field, both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and history repeats itself. So, the very first national championship, Ohio State was in the same kind of situation, and that turned out great for us.
Quite well.
That's correct. They don't fear that number 4 slot, that's for sure.
Lane Kiffin didn't know how to run the football then either.
Well, Victor, thanks for calling in. Congratulations. You will be getting the $60 Texas Roadhouse gift bucket. I can't think of anything better to do on a cold day than get in there and chow down on some steak. I know you will love it. And good luck to your Buckeyes in the semifinal game here coming up.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Right. And thanks for listening. That's Victor. What a great name to be an Ohio State fan, Victor. Mm-hmm. So that's fantastic. Good luck to those guys. I mean, I know we're SEC heavy on this show, but I would like to see a great game for Ohio State there, and hopefully they get their NIL money together. See, he can throw $60 into the pot now, and Ohio State can afford these 5-star recruits. Bear Bryant Award. Let's talk about this, guys. I'm curious as to your take. There's 6 nominees for this award for obviously the best coach of the year in college football. I'm going to run down the list and kind of get your ideas on maybe if anybody's missing or who you guys might vote for the Bear Bryant Award. Sonny Dykes, TCU. First year at TCU. Willie Fritz at Tulane. Jim Harbaugh at, as Victor would say, that school up north. Mm-hmm. Josh Heupel, University of Tennessee. Jeremy and I's favorite place.
Yep.
Kirby Smart, University of Georgia. And Jeff Traylor from UTSA, University of Texas, San Antonio. 6 good nominees. Anybody missing glaringly on this list to you?
I don't know that there's anybody glaringly missing. You could throw Lincoln Riley in there with what he did at USC. That's just pretty remarkable turnaround. But that's a solid list. I think it's a very diverse list with the programs.
Yeah.
We haven't heard of Tulane football since they left the Southeastern Conference.
Exactly.
So
and back when Glenn Manley was watching.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a good list.
Yeah, I think so. There's some other guys I would have loved to see recognition, but then you get into a list that's 30 people long.
Yeah, right.
Mike Norvell.
Mike Norvell, absolutely. Yep. Coach at Troy. Kane Womack over at South Alabama. 2 plays away from being undefeated this year. So good stuff. So out of these 6, Tommy, who would get your vote?
Oh, good Lord.
Put you on the spot this morning.
I don't like, I'm not going to say that. I tell you, you don't often see this happen, but I'd go with Kirby Smart. When teams that win all the time, that somehow the coaches never get this. But
that's right.
I mean, to keep doing what he's doing, it takes a lot of a great coach and a lot of good staff.
That's good, Jeremy.
I have to concur, just from the standpoint that is this an award about somebody who's up and coming? Because the ones at UT San Antonio and Tulane, they're not going to stay there long.
No.
Their stock's going to be high, and there are going to be openings and opportunities. Or is it about the one who's at the pinnacle, competing for the national championship, and Kirby's doing it.
I agree with that. I might be tempted to go with Jim Harbaugh. because he lost a lot off of that team that made the run last year, and then to go into Columbus, go undefeated, go into Columbus, get that win the conference title, after your big running back's gone down.
And that was about to run him off a year or so ago.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, if this were
heck
ESPN
of a job,
Northwest Michigan, we'd probably. Harbaugh's the man.
Oh my goodness gracious! So I just made Eddie's day. Well, let's talk about some of our great sponsors here. That Cajun Place, no place better to go watch football. We're there all the time because of them 75-cent wings that they do. But that entire menu, as you know, is fantastic. Get out to Dak Cajun Place. Turf Pro Pest Control. Get that lawn looking good. Don't be the talk of the neighborhood for the wrong reason. Be the talk of the neighborhood because you've got the best looking lawn, and you can do that by utilizing Turf Pro Pest Control. And thanks to Buffalo Rock for all that they do and all that they have done for all the athletes in this area. But it's not just that. They got great products. Jeremy, what do you have in front of you this morning?
I've got my zero sugar Dr. Pepper.
And Tommy's headed for one right now. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk Alabama football. We're going to do our Alabama update, but we've also got something special that we want to do here on the Coach James Hale Show this morning, but you got to stay tuned to catch it. 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Your home for the NFL. Listen to the biggest games in ultra-high fidelity. Thursday night football. Double and triple headers on Sundays. And Monday night football. The NFL on ESPN Northwest Florida is sponsored locally by Dave & Buster's and Instant Replay Sports Cards.
Good morning. It's Thursday. A weather front coming in today. Showers and thunderstorms early today, and then partial clearing towards evening. The high around 68, 69. Northwest wind up to 20 miles per hour. Clearing tonight, 45 for the low. 65, mostly sunny skies Friday. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by KHS and Associates, your source for affordable health insurance. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, you know why we're here. The football season is back! Woo! That means those pregame barbecues with an ice-cold Pepsi? Totally back. Your perfectly placed football-watching corner seat back and comfy as ever. 18 Sundays of touchdown scoring, Hail Mary throwing, ice-cold Pepsi flowing football action. You better believe it's back. And since that's too amazing to miss a single second's worth, Pepsi is officially giving you permission to always put football first. And when we say always, we mean always. Like when your lawn is looking less like a lawn and more like a jungle. If the game's on, then the lawnmower ain't. And those gutters you haven't cleaned? Today is not their day. Or maybe those in-laws are back in town. Well, better hope they're football fans because your Sunday is completely booked. Long story short, crack open a Pepsi and don't let anything get between you and your football watching. With love, Pepsi, made for football watching. That's what I like.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DN Mariana, WVLQ Port St. John, powered by Pepsi, ESPN Northwest Florida. Put down your natural light. It's time for the Alabama Update. The Alabama Update, weekday mornings at 8. On the Coach James Hale Show at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. As everyone knows who listens to the Coach James Hale Show here on ESPN Northwest Florida, 8 a.m. is normally our time for the Alabama Update, everybody's favorite segment of the show. But we've got something really special in store for today, and we will get to Alabama later. ESPN Northwest Florida and our sponsors, Panama City Toyota, Rudy's Barbecue, and Peden Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electrical, is coming together to feed families for the holidays and to reach out and support those in need. And we have a very, very special caller on the line here this morning. Heather, are you with us on the phone today?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you?
We're doing really, really well. Well, Heather, you have some absolutely wonderful friends out there, probably more so than you even know. and they were telling us about how you've kind of had a rough go of it with yourself and some kids being sick and having to use up a lot of sick leave, and you know, it's tough how those things can kind of spiral out of control when you're trying to manage a family and work and everything like that. Are you doing better? Are the kids feeling better?
Yeah, everybody's good. Thank you.
Well, that's outstanding to hear. Well, what I wanted to do, Heather, is I wanted to inform you that from ESPN Northwest Florida and our sponsors and the great friends that you have, that we are going to be giving you a Christmas turkey and $150 in gift cards for Christmas to help you through with your holiday, because when we talk to people who know you, they said you're an incredibly hard worker with a huge heart who would never ask for help, and that's why we wanted to go out and help you through and try and make your holiday season a little bit better.
I love it. Oh, my gosh. I am so grateful for these friends and for you all. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So I have to ask, you know, we do have a little sports show here, so are you a fan of a particular school here, or maybe the kids into certain sports?
Well, yeah, my older boys, they went to North Bay Haven, so we always support them. And, you know, I moved here to Panama City about 20 years ago, but I'm originally from Mississippi, so Mississippi State's my team.
Yes, ma'am, you just made my day. Proud alum. It may have taken me a long time to get that degree, but I hold it. I love it. I love it. So, well, you know, it's been a tough week for us, you know, with losing Coach Leach, but once a Bulldog, always a Bulldog. So
that's right.
I do appreciate that. You particular to football, basketball, baseball?
College football, and we're also a basketball family. My boys play basketball.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
How old are your boys?
How old? I have a 25-year-old, 21-year-old, and a 7-year-old.
Okay, very good. So,
yeah.
7-year-old getting excited about sports and starting to play
Oh,
too.
yeah, he plays soccer. I'm learning soccer. But so hopefully he will also want to play basketball like his big brothers.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, I think we dabble in soccer around the World Cup for a little bit. But I will say that I appreciate soccer, having watched my first game in person several years ago, because the television doesn't do it justice. When you're watching in person, you can say, okay, they are trying to just move to get field position. They're not actually trying to do anything other than, you know, sort of reestablish. And so I can see it now that you can't pick it up the same way on television.
I agree. I can't watch it.
I'm so happy she's a Bulldog.
Yeah.
I really, that just made my morning there.
Oh,
well, Heather,
see, I'm giving back.
That's exactly right. Well, Heather, we are so happy that we can help in this, and it's just, you know, tough things happen to good people, and anytime you can get help and things like that. But I really, really hope you just have a wonderful, wonderful holiday season, and I hope that this will help make that better for you.
It will. Thank you so much.
Thank you
and I
so
know they're probably listening, so thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Absolutely, and go Bulldogs. Heather, stay on the line with us here, and John's going to talk to you.
Okay.
But congratulations again, and thank you just for, you know, just being such a positive influence and raising some great boys.
Aw, thank you.
Thank you very much. That was Heather, and glad we were able to do something like that at the holiday season. Again, that's courtesy of our great sponsors, Panama City Toyota, Rudy's Barbecue, Peden Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electrical, for being able to make that happen and help feeding families for the holidays. That just warmed my heart this morning.
That's neat, man.
Absolutely. And being a Bulldog, too. Everybody's going to holler in saying that was rigged. I did not know that until we talked with her, but I'm certainly not upset that that's the way it played out. Well, let's get into what we normally get into at 8 a.m. here today, although it's going to be really hard to top that, Jeremy. But let's talk a little bit about Alabama.
Well, if we were talking about an Alabama team that was 9-1 and number 4 in the nation, I think most everybody listening would be talking about football.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
Alabama basketball coming on strong, and some quality wins in that 9 win over Michigan State. So there's the Big Ten. A win just the other night against Memphis. So there you've got the AAC win. And this is the first team since 1965-66 to defeat two number ones.
Unbelievable.
In 1 year, with wins over UNC and 4 overtimes, and then the win on Saturday out at Houston. So a lot of excitement around the Alabama basketball program, and a big one coming up Saturday at noon in Birmingham. Gonzaga is coming across country to play. It'd be really interesting. You know, that's a 9 a.m. start time if you're coming from the West Coast. I like Alabama in this ball game. You know,
well, were the Golden State Warriors not available? For crying out loud.
It will be nationally televised. Early start, I think, will favor Alabama, and that'll be really the last big non-conference game. They do play Jackson State next week while the kids are out, and then open conference play with Mississippi State on December 28th over in Starkville.
The only remaining undefeated basketball team in the Southeastern Conference.
That's right. So that will be a big one as well. But congrats to Nate Oates. He is scheduled up, and they've played tough. You know, last year they may have played too tough in the non-conference.
True.
But this year they took that strong non-conference, and it has paid off big time for them. So big game Saturday, Birmingham. We're in that little lull of where we're getting awards and some recruiting news and those things as we're heading toward the bowl season starting this weekend. 4 Alabama players named All-Americans. First team All-American. First 2-time unanimous All-American for Alabama, Will Anderson Jr.
Absolutely.
And no real surprise there.
Not at all.
Jordan Battle, Kool-Aid McKinstry, and Byron Young, all second teamers. So congrats to those guys. You know, I was kind of interested. You know, Bryce Young, former Heisman Trophy winner, didn't even find the third team there.
You know, we were talking about that the other day when we read them. Think about this in the preseason. Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, neither of them made the top 3 All-American teams.
Nope.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And all summer long, I felt like our receiver core would be the question mark, and I think it turned out to be, you know, pretty accurate. You lose, you know, Mechie, Williams, and that made a difference.
Yeah, it did.
And I know, you know, quarterbacks need receivers to be great. And it just never looked like there was the same chemistry that you had with those other 2 guys last year.
There was the hope that Burton would fill that kind of – people overlook Slade Bolden's importance.
Possession receiver, find the opening.
Young knew exactly where he was at all times. He could always dump to him, and Bolden never dropped a ball. Well, rarely dropped a ball. I thought Burton would be that, and it just never – they never really seemed to get on the same page.
Never could. So the other piece here before we kind of move to the break, you know, some recruiting news obviously, but one story that's kind of gone under the radar screen a little bit, and I had some time up in Montgomery and have tracked a little bit of what's going on there, but you've got 2 5-star teammates on the same squad at Carver High School in Montgomery, James Smith and Qua Russell. Smith is rated as the number 2 defensive lineman in the nation. Russell is considered the number 2 linebacker in the nation. In terms of Alabama rankings, in terms of players, Smith is the number 1 prospect overall out of the state of Alabama. Russell is the number 2 prospect overall out of the state of Alabama. And they have said from day one they want to continue to play together.
Wow.
So it's not necessarily a package deal, but they're definitely in conversation with one another about where they're heading.
In breaking news,
23 kids.
In breaking news, Carver's defensive coordinator hired at Alabama.
Analyst.
I take it Carver was undefeated in high school.
No, they were eliminated in the playoffs there.
Really?
But these 2 are kind of 2 to be watched.
Absolutely.
And if you're Alabama and you can pick up a D lineman and the linebacker.
Yeah, five stars,
82 miles down the road, 100 miles down the road from Tuscaloosa. So watch for this story out of Carver and see how we move through the rest of.
Have they indicated where they want to go?
They're leaning Alabama, but they've visited Florida, visited Georgia, and there's something about playing close to home.
I would make sure there's impassable construction on 85 East so that they can't visit the plains if I were an Alabama fan. But
so
that's interesting. I did not realize that the top two guys were on the same defense.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so we'll hope that they show up in the crimson and white here soon. So.
There we go. So we can only hope. The Alabama update, again, what a really special one we had today, getting to talk with Heather. That was just fantastic. Love that we were able to do that, and thanks to our sponsors for making that happen. And the Alabama update, as always, brought to you by Steverson Air Conditioning, another wonderful sponsor. And, folks, I know this morning you're not thinking air conditioning, but you may be thinking turning on that heater for the first time this year. You have issues with it. You don't need to just shiver in the corner. Make sure you call Jason Steverson Air Conditioning. They can come out, service your unit. They can get you a new one if you need, but they're not going to upsell you. If you don't need a new one, they're going to tell you, no, here's what we need to do like that. And that's why we love Steverson Air Conditioning. When we get back, we're going to talk some Auburn football. We may even have a caller or two here on the Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida is feeding families for the holidays this Christmas because no one should go without during the holidays. So we're providing 20 families with a Christmas turkey and a gift card. To nominate a family in need, just share their story with us. Go to ESPNPC.com and click Feeding Families for the Holidays. Sponsored by ESPN Northwest Florida, Panama City Toyota, Rudy's Barbecue, Pete in Air Conditioning, Plumbing and Electrical.
Good morning. It's Thursday. A weather front coming in today. Showers and thunderstorms early today, and then partial clearing towards evening. The high around 68, 69. Northwest wind up to 20 miles per hour. Clearing tonight, 45 for the low. 65, mostly sunny skies Friday. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Sykes Concrete has been in business in this area since 1947, and 3 generations later, they're still going strong. See Sykes Concrete for dirt, sand, rock, and concrete. They can handle any size job from the smallest to the largest. Sykes Concrete pays CDL truck drivers some of the highest wages in Bay County, making $50,000 to $75,000 a year, including holiday and vacation pay, plus health insurance. See Hugh Sykes at Sykes Concrete, 8030 Highway 77 on the right, just north of Southport Elementary School.
It's the wonderful holiday season, and that boot store has tremendous specials throughout the store. 10% off the regular price of children's boots now till Christmas. Select winter Carhartt work coats, along with select caps and boots, all on sale. Remember, enjoy your family and friends this Christmas. And as Joe always reminds you, don't forget the reason for the season, the birth of Jesus, the Savior of the world. That boot store. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 to 5, Friday and Saturday, 9 to 5:30. Next to Billboard Key on 15th Street.
Tiger fans, join us weekday mornings at 8:15. It's the Bay Point Golf Auburn Update on the Coach James Hale Show at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
War Eagle. Hey! I keep wanting to go into the names. I can't remember them all. You would think there's only 3 Auburn fans in the United States, the way Coach Hale pitches back to it. But Auburn Update today brought to you, just like they are every day, by Bay Point Golf. Ryan Mulvey out there. Let me tell you something. You better get out there before Glenn, because he just hacks up divots all over the place. But it is a wonderful, wonderful golf course. I absolutely love it. But that's not all they do at Bay Point. They've got great events going on, wonderful food in the restaurant, but they do bingo nights and different theme nights like that. It is just an event to go out to Bay Point. They are wonderful in the hospitality business. They're about to have some specials in the pro shop as well. So make sure you get out and see them at Bay Point for the holidays and enjoy yourself a round of golf and a full day of entertainment. Speaking of entertainment, let's talk about Auburn football. We've got some coordinator hires that have now been made official. Now, we talked about them earlier this week. By all accounts, these are home run hires, very experienced coaches that Hugh Freeze is bringing to the Plains. It has been made official. Ron Roberts has been named as the defensive coordinator, coming from Baylor, where he has had some wonderful defenses under Coach Dave Aranda.
A defensive mind in his own right.
Absolutely right. And then Philip Montgomery coming in as the offensive coordinator. He's been a head coach for 8 years at Tulsa. And while Tulsa didn't have the last couple of years the way they wanted, several bowl games, well done there in Tulsa out of Philip Montgomery, and a great offensive mind to pair with another great offensive mind in Hugh Freeze. So this should be really exciting if you're an Auburn fan, getting those coordinator hires in place, and just the speed at which Hugh Freeze is doing things it's been funny in this information age that we live in. Everybody expects everything to be done absolutely instantly. And there were some people like, when's Freeze going to name an OC? It's like, he's had the job for a week.
Right.
Yeah. Take your time, find the right people. And I think what we're seeing is the result of that. I remember hearing someone talk about this. I think it was actually Andy Burcham talking about it on Tuesday. Everybody was clamoring for the new AD needs to be in place. The new AD needs to be in place. They took a little bit of time. They got John Cohen. Notwithstanding my personal feelings about him leaving Mississippi State and going to Auburn, the guy has success as an athletic director. The head coach, when are we going to name? When are we going to name? When are we going to name? We need somebody. They took their time, may have gone after another person as well, but got Hugh Freeze, home run hire for Auburn. Same thing, took their time with the coordinator hires, got the right people.
There's an adage in staffing, regardless of whether it's football or, better to make no hire than the wrong hire.
Correct. Absolutely correct. And it ties in a little bit to the Mike Leach thing. I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, golly, it seems like we've talked about this Mike Leach thing over and over and over. It hadn't been 48 hours now since it was announced that he passed. It seems like weeks ago in this information age that we're in. So it can be tough not to get caught up in that, because you still have to vet and do your due diligence